Hello everyone, I'm Black Marvin. I'm a progressive psychedelic trance artist. I'm a professional sound designer and I'm also a teacher for electronic music production. Today we're going to discuss how you can customize your kicks for psychedelic techno inside Kick 2. And in order to explain that, I'm going to use a preset from the pack, Psytech Kicks for Kick 2. The bank is available right now on fractalsounds.ca and the link is in the description. You'll see that in psychedelic techno, there's sort of three different poles for kicks. It's just words to describe sounds, but it's sometimes very useful to have words to describe sounds. Then it's easier to organize and understand what you want to do with the sound. These three poles are bouncy kicks, slicey kicks, and knocky kicks. And don't forget that it's a spectrum. So there's some kicks that are very, very towards bouncy. Other kicks are very, very towards the slicey aesthetic. But also other kicks, it can be somewhere in the spectrum, have a bit of that sliciness, but still very bouncy, or just very knocky, but slicey. You know, it's just words to help you understand the sound. If you want to learn deeper about Psytech, there's currently Psytech Masterclass being uploaded inside the video vault of Fractal Mentorships. All that is available for $5 monthly. It's a mentorship. There's a lot of features alongside the video vault. First of all, in the video vault, there's also a faceplant masterclass. Each 2 weeks, there's a new module for either the Psytech Masterclass or the faceplant masterclass. You also have access to direct support, feedback, a discussion with a mentor. It's going to help you progress tremendously. And you also have, if needed, access to private lesson, group lessons, mixing and mastering. And yeah, that's pretty much what for now. That's all the features. But yeah, the link is in the description if you want to know more about that. Yeah, it's made to help you become a better producer. So before we start, as always, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel. There's more Psytech content coming up. And now let's dive into Kick 2 and show you how you can customize your kicks. Okay, so I'm inside Kick 2 and I'm inside the DLC folder for downloadable content. And when you open up the Kick 2 Psytech presets, you have these three categories. You have bouncy kicks, knocky kicks, and slicey kicks. So if you look into category, you have bouncy kicks, knocky kicks, and slicey kicks. These are somewhat, like I explained in the introduction, three poles and three key features of the psychedelic techno kicks. In the end, all psychedelic techno kicks have a very similar aesthetic, but having them placed in three folders like this is going to help you steer your research towards the style of kick that you want. First, let's go into the bouncy kicks folder. It's the biggest folder of the pack because really that's the core of the Psytech sounds when it comes to kicks. That's really the aesthetic that is the most common. And I would say knocky and slicey kicks are just kind of different hybrids of the bouncy kicks. So first, let's go through a couple kicks. So that's how the bouncy kicks sound. Some of them are very soft and other ones are almost, they could almost be placed in the knocky folder, but still they are very bouncy. Now the knocky kicks, like I said, there's some that are still bouncy, but there's other ones that are more on the knocky extreme. Some of them, they can even be used in some sort of psychedelic techno and peak time techno hybrid. So you can hear that the knocky aesthetic, it's a bit more bulkier, it's a bit more heavy, it's a bit more sustained, like the body of the kick is a bit more sustained. It's important to remember that when you're gonna want to modify and customize your kicks. Last but not the least, slicey kicks. It's the smallest folder of the three, but the slicey aesthetic, it's a bit more closer to the psytrance kick. They could almost also be called whippy in some ways. There's some kicks that really whip, and there's some other kicks that it's more because of the top and the clicks, the top component and the clicky component that makes them a bit slicey. They are similar to the knocky ones, but they slice a bit more. Now that we established what these three different types of kicks are, I'm going to show you how you can take one bouncy kick and steer it towards one direction or the other. And, even maybe in a new direction. So I chose ANSI from the bouncy kicks because I think it's very archetypally one of the bouncy kicks. It's not steering much towards the knocky and the slicey, but I'll show you how you can manipulate this kick and make it more slicey. In order to explain that, I'm going to do a short overview of the features that you can tweak inside Kick 2. In order to understand how these different features of Kick 2 interact with how the kick sounds, first you need to understand that a kick is a sine wave that is sweeping down really quickly. It's coming from a very high frequency and it's sweeping down very quickly. That's why actually you have the pitch, and that's why you can see we have different articulation point that go from up to down. Now that you understand that, I'm gonna show you an easy way that you can interact with the kick. The angle I'm taking today is somewhat intermediate to beginner inside Kick 2, because more advanced user kind of know already these kind of things, but I want to show some intermediate user how they can interact with these kicks. First, let's start with the pitch. Now, you can see that when we have this pitch slider all the way down, we are very, very close to the ultimate bouncy. It's really just a kick signal, very soft. And that makes sense if you understand how a kick is a sweep of a sine wave. Like the harder the sweep, the bigger the sweep, the harsher it's going to sound, but the more whippy it's going to sound. So if you want to make it softer, that's how you do it. And if you want to make it a bit slicier, let's aim towards a more slicey kick. Let's put it all the way up. So we're back to the kick being somewhat normal or close to its regular state. But that was the pitch, and that's something you can interact quite easily, actually, especially if you're a beginner. Now, still in the realm of pitch, you can see that these articulations that I talked about, they represent the sweep from top to bottom. So if we make this sweep more noticeable, we're going to go into more of a clicky realm for the kick. Let me show you. So just by moving this articulation, and it's usually, if you want to achieve that, it's going to be not the first one here, but like the first one that starts to be responsible from the body, because the click interaction and the whip interaction, it's really this articulation. Already here and here, it's going to be the body. It's going to interact more with the kick being somewhat knocky, but it's really here that it's happening. You can also change that curve here. You'll see how it interacts with the kick. That's another way to interact with the sliciness of the kick. There's also this third articulation here. This one is more responsible for the body of the kick. But the relationship with this one, with the one before it, it can also help with the sliciness of the kick. Actually, you can see when we put it more up, uh, it's like slicey and knocky. But if we put it down, we're really like having a slicey attack, but it comes into a softer body. So that's how you can interact with this curve. Now, I want to show you the clicks and how they interact with the result. And also we're going to leave the slicey and whippy territory, and we're slowly going to go into more of a knocky kick. But still, I want to show you how these clicks interact with the result. You can see that this is a click coming from the bank. It's available in the back, this one as well. And this is just one that is coming with the kick 2 by default. So what you can do is first solo them. That's a really good way to just spot what it does. Well, you can see this one has a bit more of a slicey feature. And this one is present, but it's muted. But I'm just curious to see. Yeah, it's more of a, yeah, we'll bring this one up. And you can see that in the bank, there's a couple of these types of clicks that are present, but muted. They're just ready to be, customized and played with. So this click one is a bit more, it's more clicky and slicey. So I'm gonna remove it, but just bringing this one up and this one up as well. Just the way we perceive the kick, it's a bit more on the knocky side now. Also, I'm going to chill a bit on the sliciness. And if you want, you can mute these just temporarily if you really want to focus on this right here, that's that motion. So now I'm back with something just bouncy. It's not slicey and whippy anymore. But now I'm going to play with this here. This articulation will probably make it bulkier and a bit more knocky. Now let's bring these two clicks back. Now we're into something more knocky. It's fascinating how a super small amount of these can really turn over the kick into something that, you really need to balance these properly. And this makes sense so far click wise. The last thing I want to show for today, there's more, but the goal was really to show you some quick access that you can start doing to interact with these kicks. You're going to get much more than 60 presets. And the last one is the length. Again, remembering that it's a sweep. If you change the length of the sweep, you're definitely going to change the behavior of the kick. A longer length will result into something more just bulky and obvious, while a shorter length will result into something a bit more soft. But you need to be careful with the length, because if you put it too short, you're just gonna underpower your kick. Like here, we're not, yes, it's soft, but it's not whipping enough. So it doesn't even generate a proper body. But sometimes if you're dealing with a kick that is too knocky for your taste, but you like it, just pulling back a bit the length, it can help. All right, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover for today. I wanted to keep it light and breezy, but there's other functionality that interact with the kick. Um, there's the amp. If you want, you can sort of readjust the length of the kick, but with the amp. So it's more of a length in terms of volume, and not, while this length here is the length in terms of the whip and the sweep of the kick. We're not going to talk about the distortion, and well, we're not going to talk about the EQ, but just know that there's some EQ that you can do on the kick. These presets, they come out, of course, already EQ'd. And also, just so you know, that I strongly recommend taking kicks in Kick 2, but rendering them and post-processing them. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, these Psytech kicks, really, Psytech is just a way to organize them, because they can be used for melodic techno, progressive trance, even some areas of progressive psychedelic trance where you don't need some very heavy kicks. That can definitely also be used for that. Now, also that you understand, you can take these and transform that into, like I mentioned, somewhat of a hybrid between the peak time techno kicks and the psychedelic techno. Yeah, now you're basically a kick craftsman, right? As always, don't forget to check out the resources, fractal mentorships if you want to see that Psytech masterclass. The module 1 is there. There's some more modules that are going to be added on a very regular basis. The Discord of Fractal Sounds user community. There's a feedback machine. Man, there's just so much stuff. But yeah, the resources are in the description. Thank you for tuning in. There's some more Psytech content. I'm going to put some other links in the description if you want to just dive deep into all the Psytech stuff I did. And yeah, I'm going to see you in another video or a lesson or a stream. Just see you soon. Happy producing.